viewing investment properties? Well, here are some tips and tricks of what I do and what I look for when I'm viewing investment properties. So tip one is, and that is before you even book a viewing, before you even look at properties, before you even speak to an agent, is to do research. So before you even go out and view a property, before you even speak to an agent, you need to know exactly what are your goals, what are you looking for, what are you wanting to get out of these properties, what are your outcomes. You need to know all of this before you even start looking or booking for properties, for viewings. So you need to have a solid idea of what you're actually looking for, i.e. you need a solid property profile. So I've done videos on this before. I've got my property profile on here on past videos that I've done on YouTube, and there are three main criteria what I'm looking for and what I'm hoping to get out of a property. So I always say that properties that I'm looking for need to have at least 2 out of these 3 main criteria, and these criteria, they are derived and they are defined by my SMART property goals. And again, like I say, I've done videos on my SMART goals before, so you need to go back and have a look at what you're actually wanting to achieve from property, what you're wanting to get. Are you wanting to be financially free? Are you wanting to give an income each month? Are you wanting to benefit from the capital appreciation each year? All these things you need to decide and learn and work back through into a property SMART goals, and from there you can then look at your actual 3 main criteria that you want your properties to meet in order for you to meet those SMART goals. That's what I call my property profile. So if you want to have a read of the video, I'll pop that in the card somewhere above, and that'll just show you what I'm talking about in that sense. So yeah, if you watch that video, you'll be able to see the 3 main things that I'm looking for when I'm looking for properties. So when I'm looking on Rightmove or whatever medium that I'm using to actually research and look for properties, I'm deadly focused. So I'm focused on properties that will help me achieve those SMART goals, and that is all that I'm looking for. So once you know exactly what you're wanting to buy based on what you're wanting your outcomes to be, it'll help you focus your efforts and help you filter out all the crap and just help you save time and hone in on what on the actual properties are actually going to achieve your goals based on what your needs and wants are. So after that, I then do a bit of desktop studies. So I'll research the area, and I'm talking really quick here. I'll just look on Rightmove and I'll look on sold prices. I'll look on the street view, street maps, just have a look, general feel for the area from looking at it desktop wise if you're not familiar with the area. So I'll look at things like, is there loads of rubbish lying around, are the people, you know, just things like that. Is it off a main road? Just stuff like that that will help me decide whether this property is worthwhile me actually booking a viewing. I'll also work out my ROI, my return on investment, to make just a rough idea. And heads up that if you, in the description box, there's a project template, and that'll actually give you a calculator that you can sort of type and play around with the numbers, and it'll give you your ROI on that. That's free of charge. There's a link in the description box for that. I'll have a quick look on that and have a quick look around the street just to give me a bit of a gauge as to what it's like, whether it's worth me actually phoning up and booking for that viewing. Now, as I said, I'm fresh from a viewing at the minute. That's why I've got my PPE and everything on. A bonus tip, it just helps you to look a little bit more professional. I've got my company name on this, and I've got Sapphire Properties on the back. Might seem a bit naff, but obviously when you're walking into a viewing, it just shows an actual investment company, and it just gives you that, just adds to that overall professionalism that you're going for. So it just shows the vendor or the estate agent that you actually mean business. So bonus tip for you, if you do want to get some labelled PPE. So yeah, if you are looking for personalised PPE, you can always sort of message me or add a comment below, and I can answer that comment back to you with the guys that I used where I got these ones from. Yeah, so for this particular property, I was looking at the floor plans. Everything else checked out all right. So I got to the next stage, which is looking at the floor plan, seeing what you can do with that. And on the floor plans, I figured out that for each level, I could probably split those into separate flats. So I was hoping to get 3 flats from one property, split it into 3 flats. Adventurous, I know, but I was trying to see whether we could do that. So what I wanted to do was, the ground floor was pretty much segregated already, so I wanted to create like a little post box area so people can get their mail delivered and all nice and neat in front. So extend that, push that further forward so that you can create like a little, as I said, like a little annex so that you can put like all post boxes, storage for Amazon, things like that. And then obviously use that whole secure stairwell and corridor space was going to be the main corridor going all the way up, because it was to one side, and I thought that could be segregated off, and that would be allow access all the way up through to the first floor and then to the second floor. So what I was hoping to do was move the door further back, have a door going into for the front entrance flat, from that main corridor going into the lounge, and then from then split that up. And then also the kitchen at the back, it's obviously already had an extension, so where that extension line would be a natural marker, so I could move the kitchen further forward and pop the bathroom there, and then the kitchen in the next part over, and in that kitchen part, and then just block that off, so that would be one self-contained flat. And then above would be a similar layout, so again you'd be going up the main stairwell, and then the same thing, access into the lounge, and then from the lounge you can get to the bedroom. That'll be the same on the ground floor, if I didn't mention that. And then obviously upstairs I was hoping to have a diagonal partition wall going across with a door, an internal door on the inside, so that you could get into the bathroom, and then the lounge would have like a little kitchenette space in there, and then mirror that take that up onto the 3rd floor, and then obviously build an extension onto the other side so that you could build out and have that bathroom there, and again have a diagonal partition with an internal door for the bathroom. And then on the inside off the lounge, it would have a kitchenette on one side again, then the lounge sort of open plan space for each of those, and then off that you would go up onto your bedroom. So that was the plan for this. Quick look on that, that's what I was hoping to do. Tip number 2 is plan your viewings ahead of time. Look through all the pictures, look through the descriptions, and have your questions that you want to ask the vendor or the agent ready ahead of time with a pen and paper there, ready to speak to them and jot all your notes down. And also a bonus tip as well, make sure you know where you want to be taking photos. If they're taking photos in a certain, which agents, sorry, you know you do it. You take photos in a certain way, so make sure you have notes down in a notebook, noting that, right, photo whatever 3 was the kitchen at this angle and could hardly see the boiler, so when I go there I want to see what the boiler looks like. And then make sure when you go there you're ready and you've got a list of photos that you actually want to take. Right, I want to take photos of the full extent of the boiler, and also ask questions about the boiler. Right, I saw a little tiny bit of a crack on this position on this photo. Right, when I go I want to make sure that I see the whole of that crack, the whole of the thing. So make sure that your viewings are all planned ahead of time to the T, so that it saves you time when you're in there. You know what questions you're going to be asking. You're not off the fly asking this, asking that, and you've already researched and you're already prepared. That's the top tip. Yeah, and a bonus tip as well, if you are actually planning on taking photos of inside the house, and also if you do a lot of block viewings all in one go, just so you can stay organised and referenced, and you know which photo goes with which house. If you take a photo of the front of the house outside, or even the front door or something, then that acts as a good reference, so that you know all the photos after that is all to do with that house. So that's a bonus tip for you. So yeah, I literally have a list of questions and almost like a checklist of things that I want to look through and check out before I go to viewing. So a lot of my efforts are put into before the viewing, so that when I actually get there I can just go and look, and I know what questions I'm going to be asked, and I'm focused, and as I said, I'm using that time as efficiently as I can. And also, as I said, for this particular property that I was going to view, I actually wanted to make sure that I could check all the head heights going up all of the stairways to make sure I've got at least 2 meters head height for me. As you can see in some of the footage, that wasn't possible, so that is that's the way things are going with this property. But yeah, that's I wanted to check all the head heights. I wanted to check in person what the walls and things were like, so that I knew so I could sort of gauge and guesstimate how much it would be for a full refurb on this property to split those into 3 flats. The main thing would have been the fire preparations and fire refurbishment processes that I would have to take into place, that I would have to consider. So for example, each flat would have to be encapsulated for fire purposes, so I need to check whether that would be possible to do, would it be feasible. So I was just checking again when I looked on the floor plans, I could see that the stairs were on the side of the house and not running through the middle onto the side and sort of splitting each room on either side. I know there's some properties that will do that, so that the staircase is running in the middle and you've got a room on either side. So therefore my idea of turning those into 3 flats wouldn't be feasible, because each flat would have, unless I did it split level or something, because you've got your main staircase running in the middle, so that wouldn't have worked. So this one worked on paper because I could see that the stairs were on one side, so therefore that could have been encapsulated and run all the way through and up, and that would service the main corridor for each flat. So I was just checking whether my vision in my head would work in reality on site. And again, as I said, you will see with this property whether or not it was workable or not as I continue through the video. So keep watching to the end and you'll see whether my thoughts and whether I could actually do this ambitious task of turning this property into 3 flats. My third tip, and this is a really big one, this is a good one, is arrive at your viewing early. So if you've got a block viewings for the day and your whole day is dedicated to all of these different viewings, make sure you allocate time at least 10 to 15 minutes before each and every appointment, so that you can arrive there early, just have a look around and get a real feel for the street, what's on the street, the social vibe, whether there's loads of rubbish, whether there's couches outside, things like that, and whether they're, again, and this all goes back to your SMART goals and your property profile, whether these will align with that and then help you achieve what you're ultimately aiming to achieve on your property journey. So yeah, just arrive there early before the agent, or if it's a vendor, still arrive there early and just have a look outside and just make sure that the street is as per you thought it was going to be. Obviously, if you've not got that local knowledge, if you're doing this remotely, make sure you go. It's even more important to make sure you get there early so that you can get a vibe of the street. If you do know the street and you know it, still get there early so that then you can move on to the next stage where you can check the roof line, you can check whether there's any dips in that. So yeah, we're getting on to structural stuff to do with the house now. So make sure that you can then check whether there's missing tiles, whether there's dips in the roof. You want to check at things like chimneys, whether the flashing's still there, it's all intact, just stuff like that from the outside. Your soffit and fascias, are they all intact? Are they good? Are they timber? Or what materials are they? Do they need upgrading? Windows, do they need upgrading? Are they timber? Just stuff like that that you can jot down and note down in your notebook that you should be taking. And again, another reason for having this notebook, we'll go back to this, is so that you can then build up a list of pros and cons, and you can sort of see a pattern in the viewings and things that you're looking for, and it will help you look back and reference back to properties that you have already looked at and the reasons why you said they were a no. So this is very important to have this. It's a running log of what you've looked at. But yeah, so that you can look on the again, so I go back to this, it's so that you can look on the outside, you've got those few minutes to gather your thoughts, you can see how the street is, whether it fits in with your ultimate goals for the property. So yeah, arrive there early. You've not got the pressure of the agent there stood there waiting for you to look round. You can look around at your own peace and time, you've got your own peace of mind. You can look around and have a look at things that you want to kind of investigate, that you've researched from before, that you actually want to double down on and see what they're like in person. So yeah, arrive there early, it's a must. And my fourth tip is, this is where we're actually getting into looking at the actual property. So the fourth tip is to literally look at the inside of the property and just note things on that. So what I mean by this is ask questions like your viewing set of questions should be things like, right, what's the date of the boiler? When was that last put in? When was that last serviced? Has it got all its paperwork, as in has it got the gas safety certificate? Has it got the electrical certificates? Has it got a decent EPC level rating, or has it even got an EPC at all? You're looking at things like that, and then this is when you're actually looking for your hair, your cracks. Are they hairline cracks? Is there any damp in the property? This is what you're noting, and this is what you're actually noting in your special book. All things like that are inside the flat, and taking photos and actually noting and speaking to the vendor as well, getting a good feel for it. I know vendors, when you ask them outright, oh, what would they take for this? They'll just say to you, oh, well, they're taking the asking price or something like that. But you can always, good questions to ask would be, I know you can't tell me exactly what people have offered, but what kind of range would it be so that we're not wasting each other's time? Is it, stuff like that, and you sort of ask questions like that to feel the agent out, still put pressure on them and push that through, and sometimes they'll give you really good information and that you can go and take away, and then other times you know that they are, my friend, BSing you a bit, and they're not wanting to tell you. But most of the times you can sort of feel out the actual agent by asking them a lot more questions, and also it comes off as you're actually attentive, you're actually quite interested in the property, and you're actually a genuine person or a genuine investor. So make sure you do have your list of questions, and as I said, all they can say is we can't answer the question. That's the only thing that they can say back to you. So ask as many questions as you feel free to, you want to ask, and fill them out and try and get that vibe for that. And then as soon as you mention stuff like, oh yeah, I'm an investor, oh, I'm just asking, I know you can't tell me the exact price, but could you tell me what range would make it worthwhile? What range would it be to not waste I don't want to waste your time, I don't want to waste my time, I'm a serious investor, kind of. If that's kind of the way that you're going, and that's how you put your questions across to them, sometimes they might offer up a good answer for you, but also bear in mind that they are there to sell and get the highest price possible. So yeah, take photos of anything that you feel that you want to go away and get a second opinion on. Maybe you've got a friend that's actually investing that does these kind of viewings all the time. If they can't come with you, at least you've got a photo for reference to show them later and get their opinion on. Or if you work with a builder on a regular basis, you can always send the photos to him. Again, if he can't come to the viewing with you and sort of answer those questions for you and give you a gauge of how much the refurb would be on it, at least you've got photos to reference and take that back and send that through to said builder, and they can sort of say, well, you know what, if that's a line of mine, it's going to cost you X amount of money for this, or oh, don't worry about that, then that's fine, that's fair enough, we can sort that out, or whatever. So yeah, take as many photos as possible. And as I said, here's another footage of me sort of stood in the property. I'm taking loads of photos, I'm taking loads of videos of the current condition of it, so that I can then go away with my team and discuss that with my builder, because he couldn't make it on that day. Roughly, what do you think? Do you think it's feasible to do what I want to do with it, or is it not? What could I do with it? Can I actually fix it up? And if so, how much would you charge for this? So don't be afraid to take photos and film. And obviously, if the vendor's not, if the agent's not there, or just let them know I've just took a film because I want to speak to my builder about this later on. And if anything, it just shows that you're a serious buyer and you've got serious credibility, and it shows professionalism because you're actually considering this property. And that will subconsciously go into their head, and they'll know that you're a serious buyer. So yeah, for this particular property, I think it's going to take a lot to even get it up to HMO standards, even though it is sort of almost, you see all the things, the markers in here, like the fire extinguishers, the fire exit signs and all that lot, suggesting that it is already running, or was running at some point as a HMO. At the very least, for me to do this property up, it would cost a lot more money than what I was hoping for. So on this occasion, for this property, I actually said it was a no. It just adds up to your experience, and you can use things from this property, from viewing this property, when you're going to view more properties. So use it as a learning curve, but as your lessons learned for the next time you actually view a property and what you want from it. So guys, what are your comments and your views on viewings and things? Have you been on a viewing recently? Pop your comments down below in the comments section below, and as I said, I'll be putting out more videos on tips and tricks for viewing, for property investments in general, and more project updates renovating the projects that I'm currently renovating. So I hope you like the video. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. And yeah, watch this video next for more property updates on the current property that I'm doing up. Thanks, bye.